I used to see Prince in different places and at different times, or go to his house. He used to have these parties like every Friday and Saturday night. He lived in my housing complex at one point.
I'm talking about.
No?
I'm just talking about the truth.
Just general?
Yeah. The truth is that you either are here to enlighten or disturb.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. As long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority.
When legendary singer Prince passed away in 2016, actor Samuel L. Jackson was devastated, tweeting, "I'm crushed." UK News reporting, "Prince is dead for real. A massive loss for us all. What a genius. Speechless."
Of hundreds of unreleased songs, are you ever going to release them and let us hear?
One day, someone will release them. I don't know that I'll get to release them.
Have you ever wondered why he looked so shocked? Well, you've probably heard the rumors about the singer's mysterious death, right? Some even claim it wasn't an accident at all. It was foul play. And now, it seems Michael Jackson himself hinted at something big. That Prince's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was planned. But the burning questions remain. Who was behind it? And more importantly, why?
When I was with him privately, he said, "You know what the elevator is, right?"
No.
I said, "No, what's the elevator?" He said, "Well, the elevator is the devil." Right? It scared me. I don't like to talk like that, but
Some eagle-eyed fans have started connecting the dots, pointing fingers at certain people in Diddy's inner circle who might have had a score to settle with Prince. One name that keeps coming up, Clive Davis. Prince was one of the first A-list stars to boldly call out Hollywood's gatekeepers, exposing the industry's dark side. Could that have been what sent him to the land of no return? Was Diddy involved in any way, or was it just some of his powerful friends pulling the strings?
One thing, and money is one thing, but reverence for life and service to others is the key to getting off this planet.
For nearly 4 decades, this legendary virtuoso left an indelible mark that transcended music itself. Prince wasn't just a prodigious musician. He was a revolutionary, constantly defying conventions and challenging the entertainment industry's status quo. With his groundbreaking sound, bold visual style, and unapologetic attitude, Prince became a true icon. Long before social media shined a light on the music industry's darker side, Prince fearlessly used his platform to fight for artists' rights and expose the exploitative practices of powerful executives. But according to Samuel L. Jackson, it was this very bravery that may have gotten him killed.
They killed Prince. They killed Prince on the plane. And that plane is owned by Warren Buffett.
Always pushing the envelope, Prince's unmatched creativity and bold self-expression paved the way for future artists like D'Angelo, Lucky Day, and so many more. His sound was like nothing else, and his style, second to none. Prince never shied away from challenging boundaries, often with the help of visionary designers like Murray France. He blurred gender lines and redefined what it meant to be a music icon. Throughout his decades-long career, Prince didn't just make music. He transformed the way artists interact with record labels and reclaim ownership of their craft. His transparency about his own struggles set a new standard in the industry. With timeless hits like Purple Rain, 1999, Raspberry Beret, and When Doves Cry, Prince became a musical force. But it wasn't just the music. He became equally famous for his shady comments, iconic fashion moments, and most importantly, his ability to steer his career exactly the way he wanted.
Nothing else to prove. I feel like the greatest performer that I could have been, and people who love me feel that I was the greatest performer they'd ever seen. So,
as Prince fought for creative freedom and fairness in the industry, he also seemed to have a keen sense of its future. By challenging Warner Music Group over his catalog and changing his name, he won back the masters to his music and launched his own record labels. Raised in Minneapolis, Prince understood the power of ownership early on, studying the business side of music. But this independence made him many enemies.
so much new stuff coming that we got to make some room because we don't have any plans to stop. So
Musicology, you got to feel the body move.
Throughout several interviews, Prince openly shared his struggles as a major label artist, warning others about the dangers of signing contracts with big record companies. In a 1996 Rolling Stone interview, he explained why he famously wrote Slave, on his face saying, "If I can't do what I want, what am I? If you don't own your masters, your master owns you." His battle with Warner Music Group finally ended in 2014, when he regained ownership of his entire catalog. When Warner initially refused, Prince even re-recorded his music on his own label, NPG, to create competition. His fight for artist ownership inspired many musicians, including Jay-Z, Rihanna, and Frank Ocean, to reclaim their masters. Even newcomers like Ice Spice have followed in his footsteps, entering the industry with full ownership and creative control, thanks in part to Prince's legacy.
Just had this big $20 million, that's like a huge deal, right?
So you feeling that?
No, well, what I mean, I don't understand.
Owning masters wasn't the only thing Prince urged fellow artists to pursue. He was vocal against digital streaming platforms, refusing to have his music available on sites like YouTube and iTunes. After releasing his 2010 album, he famously declared, "The internet is completely over. I don't see why I should give my new music to iTunes or anyone else. They won't pay me in advance, and then they get angry when they can't get it. They just fill your head with numbers, and that can't be good for you," as reported by Mirror.
Felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, "Well, you signed it." And I say, "Well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to..."
Can you name a musician who got rich from digital sales? Diddy recently shared his thoughts on digital streaming platforms like Apple and Spotify, expressing frustration over how they control music releases and payments. In a fiery video from October 2022, he said, "If you work for Apple or Spotify and you have rules about when we should drop our music, I'll drop my music when I want. You'll have to catch up." Prince had long predicted that record labels wouldn't last much longer, and while they still exist, more artists are now breaking free from restrictive contracts to independently release and profit from their music. Tidal remains the only streaming service to fully secure Prince's catalog, though many singles are exclusive to various platforms. Today's artists face similar challenges with streaming services, which is why many are turning to tours and physical merchandise for income.
Talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today.
In 2004, Prince was open about his disdain for major labels, describing contracts as another form of slavery. "I created my work, so it should belong to me," he stated. However, record companies would often counter, "Well, you signed it," refusing to make changes that would jeopardize their existence. Since then, many artists have embraced the independent route, including Chance the Rapper, Frank Ocean, and Tyler the Creator. Prince's advocacy for artist ownership proved impactful, earning him enemies like Clive Davis. In 2017, Chance found himself in a debate with DJ Booth over the legitimacy of being an independent artist. He pushed back against the notion that success requires a label, saying, "That's a lie. Artists are conditioned to believe they need to be discovered to succeed. If we knew there were other avenues, we wouldn't seek deals." He advised fans to have patience, noting that many favorite artists are locked into deals, limiting their potential. Another reason Samuel L. Jackson believes Prince was targeted was his innovative approach to album sales. Prince was the first artist to bundle concert tickets with album purchases. When he released his 2004 album, Musicology, he gave away copies with each ticket sold, which counted as album sales. This strategy accounted for about 25% of Musicology's total sales, keeping him on the charts for 28 weeks, as reported by The Fader.
That's going to get us out of this mess is coming back to God.
Shortly after Prince's innovative bundling strategy, Billboard adjusted its chart rules. Chart editor Jeff Mayfield argued that concertgoers should choose whether to include a CD with their ticket purchase, with pricing comparable to retail. The new rule stated that an album bundled with a ticket would count as a sale only if the buyer opted in. While Prince wasn't penalized at the time, his approach paved the way for a trend where artists bundle their music with merchandise, subscription services, and exclusive events, cutting out middlemen who often exploited artists. Icons like Beyoncé, Madonna, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, Travis Scott, and Kanye West have all adopted this tactic. In 2018, Nicki Minaj clapped back at Billboard after offering a digital copy of her Queen album alongside a poster and a title trial. Despite her efforts, she felt slighted in the charts compared to Travis Scott, who sold over 50,000 bundles without needing concert dates. Minaj tweeted about the unfairness in charting, pointing out that Scott had been selling merchandise before his music. Much has changed since then, and Billboard has begun to align with what Prince initiated. Additionally, Prince expressed concerns about sampling in music back in 1999, predicting that artists would eventually sample the samples. He remarked, "Sampling is getting out of hand, and as a music community, we need to address what it's doing to our culture."
I don't sample, it's not Memorex. I go on stage and my microphone is on.
Today, sampling the same sample has become a trend in music. For instance, Lotto's 2022 hit Big Energy features a sample from Mariah Carey's 1995 track Fantasy, which originally sampled Tom Tom Club's 1981 single Genius of Love. Many of Prince's timeless hits have also been sampled by artists like Jay-Z, Tupac, Kanye West, Diddy, and MC Lyte, showcasing his profound impact on music. His death in 2016 shocked fans and the industry alike. While his documented struggles with drug use were known to his supporters, the events leading to his tragic end are often discussed. During his tour for the iconic Purple Rain album in 1984, Prince planned to perform a song while sitting in a bathtub suspended 3 feet off the ground. During rehearsal at a Minnesota arena, the bathtub broke, causing him to fall 10 to 12 feet. Tour manager Alan Leeds recalled, "I never moved so fast in my life." Following the incident, Prince suffered ongoing back pain. Later, in Los Angeles, he slipped and injured his knee. Although he managed to finish the tour, his hip and leg never fully recovered. These injuries marked the beginning of a painful chapter for Prince, likely leading to the addiction that some later used to downplay the circumstances of his death. Authorities reported that he died from an accidental overdose of the synthetic opioid fentanyl.
Tell us about the CNN report that Prince perhaps was dealing with addiction, quote, decades ago.
Yeah, I spoke to an attorney who used to represent 2 of his now deceased half-siblings.
For those who knew and loved him, the irony of Prince's death was particularly striking, given his staunch anti-drug stance throughout his life. "He wasn't hip at all," recalled his cousin Pepe Willie. "We'd smoke a joint and come back upstairs, and he'd say, 'Oh, look at you, your eyes are red.' He was definitely a square." While Prince did experiment with drugs in his teens, it was a rare occasion. He once surprised his good friend Morris Day, the future frontman of the time, by asking for psychedelic mushrooms. Unfortunately, the experience didn't go well for him.
It was Prince, so he had called the time to do shows before. One time we were supposed to go in with him at the Target Arena.
Yep.
An hour before the show. Now, I flew all my guys in.
Yep.
Prince's death shocked those close to him, especially given his lifelong anti-drug stance. His cousin, Pepe Willie, described him as a square, who disapproved of drug use among friends. Prince's only experience with drugs came when he tried psychedelic mushrooms, leading to a disastrous trip with Morris Day. In the 80s, he fueled his marathon recording sessions with cake rather than drugs. He had a strict policy against drug use in his band and showed paranoia about anyone using drugs around him. However, after the commercial failure of his 1988 album Love Sexy, Prince began using ecstasy and hallucinogens, influenced by his girlfriend Ingrid Chavez. This shift affected his decision-making, leading him to scrap the aggressive The Black Album for Lovesexy. As he dealt with pain from tour injuries, Prince likely started self-medicating in the 90s. His keyboardist, Morris Hayes, suspected drug use when Prince exhibited erratic behavior. After missing a week of rehearsals, he returned claiming he needed to cool out, which worried his band. By his later years, Prince's reliance on opiates grew, leading to a secretive addiction. He died on April 21, 2016, at age 57, weighing just 100 pounds. His home contained thousands of pills at the time of his death. Ultimately, while Prince was known for his extraordinary talent and unconventional lifestyle, the tragic nature of his death became the most conventional aspect of his life. That's all from us today. Thank you for watching, and until next time,